Stretch that could be really easily done after 90-90 breathing or some other wall exercise. So you're gonna start again pretty close to the wall so that your legs are at about 90-90. Depending on how tight your outer hips and glutes are, you may have to move a little bit further away from the wall, but this is a good starting spot here. And I'm just gonna take one ankle and cross it over. You should feel some sensation and some stretch through the outer part of the leg that's crossed, maybe down towards the sits bones and the glutes, maybe into the IT band and the outer hip. If you don't feel a lot of sensation here, sometimes adjusting your foot to be closer to your hip can make the sensation move to a different spot. For me, I prefer to have my leg here, so that's where I'm gonna work. And you can just stay here and take a few of those deep breaths, kind of focusing on the rib cage, dropping down to the mat as you exhale, using a little bit of your own muscle to press the knee away can sometimes deepen the stretch. So rather than using my hand or an external force, I'm gonna try to use a little bit of that like actual muscle of my leg to rotate my knee open just a little bit more. And so that just usually changes the sensation and the feeling in the outer part of the leg that is crossed. To add a strength element to this and a little bit of variety and sometimes just a little bit of core work here, you're going to try to maintain this leg just as it is. And with your exhale, see if you can just lift the left leg a little bit, left foot just a little bit away from the wall and still maintain the stretch. So now I'm using my core to bring that leg in a little bit closer to me. I'm using that left quad and the hip flexor on that left side to help bring it in, and then releasing that down. And so you can do that a few times. Each exhale, kind of deepening the ribs to the mat and drawing the leg in and releasing it away. And you should feel maybe a little bit more stretch as you pull that leg in towards you. And again, you're using your breath, your body to move your legs rather than external force with your arms. So that can be just a little bit more challenging to kind of control and maintain. Maybe about 5 times using that exhale to bring the leg away from the wall and releasing it down, and then you'd switch sides. You know, that leg is a little bit spring-loaded when you take it off. Set your foot back down on the wall. You can take a couple breaths here and just notice the difference between the two sides. You should feel maybe a little more sensation through the outer part of the right hip and thigh. And then you can take the left leg and cross it over. And even though we think our bodies are symmetrical and we work typically towards that symmetry, they really aren't. My left hip does not move in the same way as my right hip and thigh. So this is about as far as I can take this leg here. My right leg does a lot better with that external rotation. So I'm going to use my breath and that exhale to draw my ribs down and use that breath and muscle energy to press that knee just a little bit away. And stay here for a few breaths. And then with the same sequence as on the other side, just seeing if I can use my exhale and that right hip to bring that left leg closer to me. And bring it back down on the wall. Exhale to draw it in. And inhale, release it away. Generally, I keep my feet flexed during these exercises. That just helps keep a little bit of energy through the shin and the calf muscles there. So you've got exhale, pulling your toes back, your heel reaching towards the wall, and then releasing that foot back down. Using that exhale to deepen the stretch and pull the leg towards you and release it away. You should feel maybe a little bit of core, a little bit of work here on that right side to bring those legs in and release the legs away. And then same thing, just taking that leg off. It's a little bit spring-loaded, kind of shake out the legs And just observe, just kind of notice how the outer parts of the hip and thigh feel after that exercise. So again, I like to do this exercise right after 90-90 breathing. It's kind of a nice sequence to put together.